we're in a uptown. When was the classes in my racism for cut down? Them big neck nigga you fi shut down. Cause them not help the use them in a bucktown. Every day new promises are unknown. And none of it no benefit to jam down. Nobody tell young people say fi calm down. Them hungry so the whole face a go yarn down. Lie never tell say Jamaica mash up. And lie never tell say Jamaica mash up. So then why so much with the place I put up? Thank you guys so much.
Drop a new album.
Yeah, man. It's called Climb. It's out. It's out. So get your copies. It's a wonderful 17-track album. It's my third studio album, the second one for VP Records. And it has been doing beautifully, if I should say so myself, so far. So good.
The tracks, I love the tracks. You always keep it political and social and a little dance thing here and there. But I love that you're for the people, you know. With the
yeah, man. You know, it's like I don't deliberately just get up and say I'm going to be this messenger and I'm going to change everything. It's like something choose me to be this vessel, and I'm just humbly going through the phases, going through the pace with it, you know. And I guess it keeps me that way because of the fact that I am reminded that I am a channel.
Right.
Yes.
No, what is the significance of Climb? Why did you name the album Climb?
The song Climb was written when there was an incursion happening in Jamaica in the Tivoli Gardens community, and I remember one night being at home sitting around my television watching the news, and there were these ladies who were demonstrating with their kids and everything, all dressed in white, and they were out crying and bemoaning the fact that they are left alone in Tivoli Gardens to fix things because their Don was taken away. And so I was listening to the rhythm at the time, produced by Jamplified, and the song just came to me in the rhythm, you know, and I'm saying, here I am, left to do it on my own, pick up the pieces, take any chance I get, carry on. There's a better person in me waiting for the day to shine with all the shame, with all the pain. I maintain, I'm a climb up out of this, you know. And it was just about having that there in case somebody wanted to go to that place of feeling better. That would be provided, you know. So that's mainly the great inspiration behind that song and the album title.
Okay, how come you made so much tracks, like 17? Normally people make 10 or 12, but I see you make a full 17.
And you know that those were chosen from a lot of some songs that we had to as well, you know.
Okay.
So it was a collective of us coming together and just picking the ones that we thought had the message of what the album is saying and the vibe that the album was projecting. And I'm happy because the tracks chosen are really loved by the listeners so far. And, you know, I'm humble and grateful for that.
Okay, now, Black Woman.
Yes.
This song, you know, talk to me a little bit about this song, you know, because I see that you're talking very thing about Black woman and what's going on right now, you know, how people treat Black woman and all these things. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you know, the story of the Black woman is, I mean, there are many different nations of us in the world, right? And many people have gone through a lot of things, but I don't think none of them have gone through what the Black woman has gone through, what slavery has done to the Black woman, what racism has done to the Black woman. She has lost all her purpose, her belonging. She doesn't know where she belongs. She doesn't know where she identifies. And we're seeing now where generation into generation into generation, we have the same problem fast forwarding to now. We're seeing where it's at an epidemic where Black women simply do not understand what it means to love themselves, to respect their bodies, to understand that they have a lot more to offer than just to be prostitutes and gyrators and Vikings in videos, but just to understand the rich culture that we have as a people in general and as women, the role we play. Because look now, the Black woman was the slave on the plantation that took care and raised the slave master's children, make them into the women and the men that they are, but their kids were left at home by themselves to fend for themselves. No one was there to look about the Black woman child. And so she has grown up in a society that doesn't necessarily care about her well-being, and the things that she's learning are from the unpicked agents of society that reflects the problems that they face. And so in the song Black Woman, we are imploring to Black women the importance of self-love, of understanding that it's okay to dress the way you want, behave the way you want, but understanding at the end of the day that self-love is what determines the treatment of somebody towards you.
Right, right. Also, I hear you speak about, you know, the black relationship between man and woman.
Yes.
And when you're kind of saying for women to embrace, you
Yes.
know, even though we're going through hard times, even with the men doing their
Yes,
stuff,
yes.
you know, talk to me a little bit about that, you know.
Well, the black woman and the black man on the plantation is a story in itself. The black woman was not taught to respect her black man, and the black man in return was not taught to respect his black woman, and so the divide and the division in the family becomes a part of how black families are used to growing up. We're saying to sisters that even though men will be men instinctively, sometimes the way we deal with the situations that comes with our men determines how our because at the end of the day we are the bosses of the relationships.
Right, yeah.
We are there to support the men and to hold them up, because sometimes they behave as if they don't need that strength, but when the woman is strong you see it reflected in them because they are more focused and they can carry on and get on with their lives better. There's a lot of feminism and a lot of that happening in the world.
That's what I kind of noticed, that you coming from a different perspective, because
Yes.
I hear this independent woman and it's in women being independent in their own right, fine. But I
Beautiful.
see like you're still saying, even though I can do my own,
Yes.
I want to be
It's
with
a
my man.
balance. It's a balance of how the nature and life is
Right,
set up.
right,
So if it is that you're independent as a woman, it doesn't mean that you should talk down to your man who might not be as independent as you at the time. You know what I mean?
right.
But it's about being that reflection so that he can see that you're independent, but at the same time, you're not being cocky with it. You're not pushing it down his throat. And so he can now feel more encouraged to be the man he's supposed to be, to stand up with his woman. And you find that it's vice versa in a lot of cases. But we would like to say to the feminists in our society that it's not about glorifying the wrongs that women do under the guise of saying they're abused, but to really understand what it means to be balanced to your man and to be there and to understand that he might not be and have all the things you want, but you took him that way, and so therefore it's only an obligation to you from you to see to it that you do whatever on your part to make the relationship work in if it is in the case of a relationship, which is it is most of the times. The breakdown happens there.
Right, right. And so, talk to me about like what's going on now too, because we're hearing a lot of like violence and these type of things towards women and even children too as well. You know.
Well, you see, all right, let's use Jamaica, for example, right? There's a society there that defends the woman in all the wrongs that she does. It might, it's sound a way for us to say it, but it is the truth. Why I say it that way? Because look at this. There's a court system that is set up, right? The court system is set up for if a man is not taking care of his kids, the woman can go there and she can vent and the court will give her the rights that she needs. You have women who exploit this system. They have a personal vendetta against their men and they say, I'm going to take you to court and I don't care. I'm going to make you suffer for hurting me and these kids will never see your face again. And so we are encouraging sisters to not take that route because at the end of the day, it's the kids who become victims of this. The kids are the ones who are left to figure things out. And sometimes what the sisters need to do is to accept their roles in these situations sometimes. Because yes, you have men who, and I never try to speak on behalf of any of those men who for no reason at all would want to abuse their women and their kids. I'm talking about men who are provoked into doing some of the things that they do, whether it's from the perspective of expectation. You have a lot of men who, as women, let's use this example, the immigration system.
Right.
In Jamaica, if a man is overseas and his wife is in Jamaica and he wants to bring up his kids, as we call it, right? File for them. There's a procedure now at the embassy where you have to go through a DNA process.
Right. To prove.
Now, the DNA, the reports out of the immigration office is that the percentage of kids who are coming back to not be found to be the biological parents of some of these fathers is overwhelming. The percentages that they're coming up with, because when they do the DNA test, if it's 6 kids, 5 of them is not for the man. And the woman, for some reason, gets away with this because society finds ways to say she has a justification for this behavior. And there's no justification for giving a man 5 jackets out of 6 kids. There's just no explanation for that. So it is up on that man, that individual, how he reacts to that situation is what will either make him a man or break him as a man. Because a lot of what is happening in our relationships in Jamaica has a lot to do with expectations. Men invest in women and they expect a return.
Right.
What these sisters are not doing is looking at, before they go into these relationships, is when they're in there, they're finding out that something isn't quite right. And that time it's way too late. A man cannot be the reason why you try to find yourself, because once you know, a lot of them, when you listen, they're saying that I didn't know him long enough. I didn't expect this from him. He was such a nice person when I met him. I didn't know how it came that way. But it was something in you. You were looking for something and you found it in that moment, and you didn't stop to check whether or not it was real. So you have to be humble enough to deal with the consequences. Don't walk and go to a next man and say, I'm going to leave him, I'll try John. And this man is hearing that you're with John and he's asking you to please leave John because, hey, you're mine, and you're saying, but I don't want to be yours anymore. It's not going to end properly. It's not going to end in the right way. So we're asking adults to be adults, to sit down, talk about the thing, work it out, and don't leave the kids hanging. You know, it's not fair to them.
Yeah, man, and that's why our generation now is looking all detrimental, you know, with the fathers not there and the mothers working.
Don't care.
And it's the same thing like the system you're saying, that now the mothers go out to work and leave the children, and just like back in the past where they were taking care of, you know,
Yes.
But this is a very deep conversation.
Yes.
I hope to have it with you some other time, because
Yes.
you're one of the only women I see speaking up for, like, on, well, you know, men and, you know, men behalf and these type of things. I don't want to say men behalf, but for women in a different way.
I do speak on men's behalf. I do. I actually make a concerted effort to do that, because at the end of the day, sisters, we have all the support. There's not a lot of support for the men, and I strongly believe that there are more good men in the world than there are bad men. It's just that it's not exposed and it's not talked about enough.
But anyway, Queen Ifrica, blessings. Thanks. Always a pleasure.
Yes,
you know, love the
you.
information. But I Roots and Culture, the beauty in culture, and you hear it here first from the wise mind of Queen Ifrica. One love, bless.
Thank you.
I.